Hello my friends, welcome to my corner. Thank you so much, gracias totales, for 5, yes my friend, 5 years of Jorge's Corner. I do hope that this is a place where you feel at home and where you can find great information about literature, film, music, and any other thing that we talk about here. And as I always say, this is not my corner, it's our corner. And as a way of saying thank you to you, I hope that this gets the message across. What I wanted to do was to show you one novel from each Latin American country. So this is what this video is all about. So let me tell you how we are going to go about this. In terms of a timeline, we're going to be looking at novels published in Spanish or Portuguese between the years 1931 and 2016. So it's quite a scope that we have right there. And as I said, we have one novel from each Latin American country, and we are going to go quite arbitrarily from south to north. That's kind of the way that I did it. You know, I came from Argentina to the United States, so I felt we would kind of mirror that movement, that migration right there. Now, let me tell you real quick what this video is trying to do and what it is not trying to do, because I think this is important. This video is simply trying to show you one novel from each Latin American country. What it is not trying to do is it is not trying to say that these are the best novels or the best authors from these countries. It is not trying to represent these countries in any way. And it is definitely not trying to represent issues like age, gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, political affiliation, favorite soccer team, Ronaldo versus Messi, nothing like that. Okay, it's simply one novel from each Latin American country. That said, I'm out of your way here. Let me show you those novels. I hope you enjoy it. And once again, thank you so much. Let's check it out. From Argentina, I'm going to show you something that you have seen before in this channel. Rayuela or Hopscotch by Julio Cortázar, published in the year 1963. This is a highly influential experimental novel packed with literary, artistic, philosophical references that takes us from Paris to Buenos Aires as a man searches for a woman and also for himself. This one, as you may know, may be read linearly or non-linearly, and of course you may find my ideas on it in a separate video. From Chile, La Casa de los Espíritus, The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. The year was 1982. This is a family saga that focuses on the women's perspective, with just a little touch of magical realism. I have also talked about this one in a specific video that I did on it. From Uruguay, I have La Vida Breve, or A Brief Life, by Juan Carlos Onetti, 1950. A dark, existential novel that creates an imaginary city that the author would revisit and continue to build in future novels and also short stories. I have also a video on this one in case you're interested. I'm showing you here Hijo de Hombre, or Son of Man, by Augusto Roa Bastos from Paraguay. It was published in 1960. This is an account of the Chaco War, a conflict that was fought between Paraguay and Bolivia and that took place between the years 1932 and 1935. But this novel features some of the most vivid descriptions ever written in the Spanish language. I don't have a video on this one, but I'm going to do something about that fairly soon. From Bolivia, La Materia del Deseo, The Matter of Desire, from the year 2001, by Edmundo Paz Soldan. This is a novel in which a university professor who is living in the US returns to his native Bolivia, escaping from a situation with one of his students, but also looking for information about his father, who was connected to a leftist group. From Brazil, of course, I have something by Clarice Lispector. This is her first novel, Near to the Wild Heart, Perto do Coração Selvagem, from 1943. This is the novel that made her a sensation, and it's her first one, of course, the one in which she attempts to piece together the biography of a woman from childhood to adulthood, paying close attention to this woman's inner life and the complex connections that she has with other people. I am definitely going to tell you more about this one. From Peru, Conversación en la Catedral, Conversation in the Cathedral, by Mario Vargas Llosa from the year 1969. This is a monumental dialogical novel that goes back and forth in time, so it has a very complex structure, and it presents an X-ray of Peruvian society under a dictatorship. And what the novel tries to answer is the question, at what precise moment did Peru screw itself up? You can also find my ideas about this one in a separate video. From Ecuador, Siete Lunas y Siete Serpientes, by Demetrio Aguilera Mata. The year was 1979. The title in English is Seven Serpents and Seven Moons, so it has been switched around, the order of the things in the title. This is a realist and magical saga of the Ecuadorian coast that is ultimately a depiction of that eternal and universal fight between good and evil. I will definitely also tell you more about this one soon. Let's go to Venezuela now with Las Lanzas Coloradas, The Red Lances, by Arturo Uslar Pietri, the year 1931. I told you I would explore this one before, and I have not forgotten about that. This is a historical novel about the War of Independence, and its avant-garde style was influenced by surrealism. Many people consider it to be one of the first examples of magical realism in Latin American literature. We're going to Colombia now. I want to see if you can guess which one I'm going to show you. I just had to, okay? So here we have good old Cien Años de Soledad, 100 Years of Solitude, of course by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, published in 1967. This, I don't need to tell you, is the epitome of magical realism, a family saga that is also a poetic history of Latin America. And this might be called, without hesitation, the most influential Latin American novel that has been published so far. Laberintos de Orgullo, or Labyrinths of Pride. Unfortunately, this one has not been translated, by Rosa Maria Britton from 2002, and this is an example of a novel from Panama. It's a historical and psychological novel. It's the biography of a man and of a whole time period that depicts life in Panama during the Noriega dictatorship. From Costa Rica, I have Mamita Yunay, 1941, by Carlos Luis Fallas. Unfortunately, this one has not been translated either, but I'm going to translate the title as Mommy United. The Unai of that title is the United Fruit Company. This novel denounces the conditions of workers in the fruit plantations, transcending that reality and even, I would say, the genre of the novel. And this is a little trivia here. Pablo Neruda was a big fan of this one. From Nicaragua, Margarita está linda la mar, 1998, by Sergio Ramirez. This one has been translated into English by the title of Margarita, How Beautiful the Sea. And that title comes from a poem by Rubén Darío, who has given us some of the most beautiful poems ever written in the Spanish language. This novel puts us in the territory where literature and politics mix, and Rubén Darío is a presence right there as this story is told. Los Días y los Muertos, from Honduras, by Giovanni Rodriguez. This was published in 2016. Not translated into English yet, at least, but the title translates as The Days and the Dead. This is an engrossing blend of thriller and experimental literature set in the city of San Pedro Sula, where danger and violence are part of everyday life. Un Día en la Vida by Manlio Argueta, published in 1980 from, of course, El Salvador. Translated as One Day of Life, This is literally one day in the life of a woman and her family during the troubled early days of the Salvadoran Civil War. And as you may know, I have done a video on this one, so check that one out. You're invited to do that for more details on this great novel. Let's go now to Guatemala with Miguel Ángel Asturias. This is Hombres de Maíz, published in 1949, Men of Maize. The translation is relatively new. And the novel is about the struggle of Latin America. And it not only portrays the lives of the indigenous peoples, but it also reflects their very worldview through the language itself. From the Dominican Republic, República Dominicana, this is Solo cenizas hallarás, Bolero, published in 1981 by Pedro Vergés. Not, unfortunately, translated into English yet. The title, I would say, only ashes you will find, Bolero. That's how I would translate it. It is set in the Dominican Republic, of course, in the years 1961 and 1962, so it looks at the effects of the Trujillo dictatorship with overlapping narrative threads and characters. So the ashes of the title refer to what remains after a catastrophic historical event or period. From Cuba, Los Pasos Perdidos, 1953 by Alejo Carpentier, or The Lost Steps. This is the story of a disenchanted composer who leaves the city behind and goes on a journey in search of primitive musical instruments. It features the Latin American Baroque style at its best, and I have done a video on this one in case you want to hear more about it. And now we come to Mexico. I hope I am showing you something here that you wouldn't have expected. This is Oficio de Tinieblas by Rosario Castellanos, published in 1962. It has been translated into English under a different title, The Book of Lamentations. In this novel, which is based on historical events, the clash of cultures, exploitation, and religious fanaticism lead to an indigenous rebellion that has tragic results. The language is also poetic, vivid, and just unforgettable. So that would technically conclude our journey, but I wanted to give you a little added extra, as we say in Argentina, a little chapa. Chapa means that added extra, because there are two traditions that I would like to recognize in this video since we are doing this journey through the American continent. One of those traditions is Puerto Rico, the literature of Puerto Rico, which you can see an example of here with La Guaracha del Macho Camacho by Luis Rafael Sanchez. This was published in 1976. There is a translation into English. It is known as Macho Camacho's Beat. And this very interesting novel is a wonderful creative explosion and analysis of popular culture that is about a traffic jam just as much as it is about language itself. And the other tradition that I wanted to recognize in this video is that of the literature that has been written and that continues to be written in the United States in Spanish. Here you're seeing Y no se lo tragó la tierra, and the earth did not devour him, by Tomás Rivera from the year 1971. This is the story of a community of Mexican-American farm workers presented as a series of apparently disjointed short stories and vignettes. It's really an unforgettable experience presented as a kind of interior monologue. Before I say goodbye, I just wanted to ask you to please share your thoughts with us about this list, about these novels that I have just shown you. Are there any books that you have enjoyed, any books that are on your to-be-read list, stuff like that, you know? If you want to share your list with us, even if it is a partial list, that is also absolutely welcome. So I hope you find good books here to read in the future and also to enjoy, because all of these are really, really good. And of course, you can expect me to talk about many of them, as I said before. So that was the Latin American novel, one book from each country. I hope you enjoyed this literary journey. And once again, thank you so much for these 5 years of this channel. And I hope that we can continue to share great ideas about literature and other things as we have done for the past 5 years. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.